Hello and welcome to Millennium Tech Talk. Today's Tech Talk is Basic Door Kit Training, and this is Session 1, Preparing for Configuration. My name is Damon Palmer and I will be your Millennium Trainer for today. So how do we prepare a door kit for configuration with Millennium Ultra? Well, we do it in 4 easy steps. Step 1 is we verify the parts that were shipped from Millennium. Step 2, we identify the parts you will need to supply yourself. And then step 3, we will power up and connect the kit to the network. And then finally, step 4, we will verify that the kit is ready for configuration. Well, let's get started. Step 1, verify the parts that shipped from Millennium. So let's now go ahead and take a look at what comes in the kit. And I will go ahead and zoom in on the actual kit itself. When you get the kit from Millennium, you'll take it out of the box and then you'll have an enclosure with a set of keys taped to the lid. You'll remove the keys from the tape and use one of them to go ahead and unlock your kit and then open it up. Inside you should find a technical services bulletin. You should also find a 12-volt DC power transformer. You should find a pack of resistors and varistors for your door hardware circuits. And then inside the kit, and let me go ahead and zoom a little closer on that for you. Inside the kit, you should also have a 2-door controller. So in a total, you should have 6 total parts. So if we go ahead and, so from the enclosure, the controller, the keys that shipped with the kit, the resistor pack, the 12-volt DC power supply, and the technical service bulletin from Millennium. Once you have those 6, you are ready to move on to the next step. Step 2, identify the parts that you will need to supply yourself. In addition to what comes from Millennium, you will also need to supply a few items that will make the installation complete. One of those items is a Cat5 cable. Another item will be a small regular screwdriver, often called a tweaker. And if you have a couple of readers and some credentials, that will allow you to go ahead and also test the system once we have it finally configured. And then those are the items that you will need to supply so that this step can be completed. And then you're ready to move on to step 3. Step 3, power up and connect the kit to the network. And this is where we will start to put the pieces together. And let's go ahead and move out a little bit so we can kind of see what we need to do. All right, let's go ahead and begin with the Cat5 cable. And again, we'll just take off the little twist tie that usually they come shipped with. And then go ahead and uncoil it. And just for the sake of the demonstration, I've already gone ahead and knocked out one of the knockouts. But also be aware that there are knockouts on all 4 sides and the 5th side, the back side of the can. So depending on your configuration and where you have the kit installed, you'll be able to use any of the knockouts that are most convenient. I'm again going to use this bottom one just for the sake of a demonstration, which clearly shows where the wiring comes in. And right here on the controller, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Right there on the controller, you will see an RJ45 jack, and we're going to go ahead and plug that right into there, like so. So that now the Cat5 cable is connected. And then go ahead and connect the other end of your cable to your network switch or a network drop nearby. And then the network portion of the connection is now complete. Now, also in your kit, you would have gotten a technical services bulletin. And if you go to page 2, or actually the second page enclosed, you will find a wiring diagram that matches the board that you have inside the kit. And you can see from his that the communication and the power and the relays are on this side, and across the bottom you have reader positions and Rex positions, and over on the left side we have all of our alarm positions, including a door position switch and a tamper switch. So once you have reviewed the wiring diagram, you'll notice that the power comes in at J2. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the second jumper from the board, and you'll see that there are 5 positions. And from the wiring diagram, you'll see that we will need to connect the positive 12-volt DC to pin 1, and we will connect the negative or the ground leg of the 12-volt power supply to pin position 3. So let's go ahead and get our power supply ready. And again, typically the power supply will come with a twist tie. Go ahead and remove the twist tie. And go ahead and pull the wire out so you've got your end. I'm going to go ahead and, just like we did with the Cat 5, I'm going to go ahead and run it through the knockout that's been knocked out earlier in the back of the kit. And then I'll be ready to go ahead and connect the cable to the connector. So if you'll notice, and I'm going to, again, I'll zoom in a little bit closer again, that on a typical cable, or a typical transformer, the cabling is very difficult to see whether it is, which side leg is positive or negative. But on most power supplies, including the one supplied from Millennium, actually the negative lead has little silver dashes on it. And I've used a little bit of white paint to go ahead and accentuate the gray dashes that are actually on the cable. When you review your own contacts, you will see the little gray dashes, which are negative signs. So this is your ground with the negative dashes on it. And then, of course, by default, the other lead is your positive. So now we're going to take these two leads and we're going to put the positive lead in pin 1 of the connector. We're going to go ahead and put the ground and in the middle in connector port number 3. So I'll go ahead and insert those in right into the connector block. And then using the tweaker that we talked about earlier, we'll go ahead and tighten up connector position 1 and connector position 3. And then I like to make sure, oops, oh, there's a good reason why we do that. Go ahead and give them a quick tug. And sure enough, one of those leads popped right back out. So go ahead and put it back in and make sure it's completely tightened. Give them a good tug. So now we're assured that they are connected properly. And then we will take the J2 plug and reinsert it into the board. Okay, and I'll pull the slack out a little bit here. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and plug in the other side. Once you have the network cable plugged in here on the board, and then you have the power plugged in on jumper 2, go ahead and plug your transformer into the nearest power supply. And you should notice right away that the power light starts to blink. Okay, so the board has power. And now you're ready to move on to the next step. Step 4, verify the kit is ready for configuration. In the last step, we left with the power light showing us that the board had received power and that we were ready to verify that it was ready for configuration. So now at this step, we can see that because the light is flashing and it is ready to become online, we need to now verify that also the lights that are available to us on the RJ45 connector are also showing link and traffic. So I'm going to remove the board just so you can see the connectors a little bit easier. And as you look at the end of the board, we're going to go ahead and move over so you can see the link light itself. And right over here on this side of the board at the bottom, there is an amber light. And that amber light is showing a solid, which means that there is a link between this cable to the switch. And then on the other side of the connector, there is a flashing green light, which is showing us network traffic. So at this point, the board is attempting to communicate with the server, but since we haven't done any configuration beyond this basic setup of the kit, the communication is not ready to come online yet. But because we are showing a solid link light, and we are showing network traffic is speaking back and forth to the switch and the network, and we have the power light ready, flashing as well right here, then we are ready to move forward to the next step in the process. The kit is now ready for configuration. So let me go ahead and put this back into the enclosure. And then you are ready to move on to the next step. Session 2 is configuring your door kit with a Millennium Configurator. And that's a nice little software utility that we use to configure the board so that it's able to speak and communicate with the software. If you have any questions or feedback, please email customer care at customerservice@mgiaccess.com. I hope this was a helpful video and look forward to seeing you in session 2.